بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. We can all read the Sharif together. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. صدق الله العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In a time of difficulty in the Muslim Ummah, when everywhere we look around, we see that the Muslims are in trouble. It gives us a chance to cast back our mind to a time when we had such leaders who would protect Islam with everything that they had. Not only protect Islam, but they would protect every single one of the Muslim Ummah. Because of such beings and such people being around, the enemies of Islam wouldn't even dare to do anything against the Muslims. With the month of Muharram now upon us, it gives us a chance to relive and to look at some of these leaders. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala an was martyred in the month of Muharram. He was stabbed at the end of Dhul Hijjah, but he passed away on the 1st of Muharram. So today it gives us a chance to look at the life of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala an and what he did for Islam and how that today is still affecting everybody around the world. When we look at the beginning of the life of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala an, he himself, he mentions that I was once an idolater. I did not believe in the one Allah and I used to worship statues. And he narrates it himself. He says, I was sitting once and I made some pieces of food as my God and I started worshipping it. And a time came where that same piece of food, I got hungry, so I just ate it myself as well. He said that we were misguided in such a way where he used to mention the story and then he would laugh about it as well afterwards. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He blessed him with Iman, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took him from the lowest of the low till so high, subhanallah. When we look at the conversion of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, as we all know, that he was on his way to kill Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and instead of killing Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it ended with him going to the door of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and accepting Islam. So much so that when he accepted Islam, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they shouted takbir so loud that all of the people of Makkah, they heard this takbir. The conversion of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala an was so great that the Quraysh, they became scared. Hazrat Umar radiallahu an, he had such a personality where he was not scared of anyone. He would get up and he said that I am going to go to the Kaaba and I am going to pray my salah there. If anybody has a problem with it, I'll deal with them there. And of course nobody had a problem, because Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala an was such a personality that nobody wanted to mess with him. So much so that it says that when Hazrat Umar radiallahu anh is walking on one side of the street, Shaitan would cross the road and he would walk on the other side. This is how fearful they were of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. When we look at what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said about Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he said that if there was to be any other prophet after me, it would have been Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Now when we look at everything that happened during the time of Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, so Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had passed away, Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu had passed away, and Hazrat Umar was once sitting with the companions, and they were all sitting, and he asked a question. He asked that, does anybody know what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said about the fitnas that are going to come into the dunya? And Hazrat Hudhayfa radiallahu anhu was sitting, and he was one of the ones who was very learned when it came to the signs and the things which will bring around the fitnas and the trials. So he answered that the people, they will start to do things in the ummah which they are not supposed to be doing. So Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he asked for a bit more of detail, to which they were not really able to understand. So Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he himself, he answered the question that the time when the fitnas and the trials will come upon the Muslim ummah is when a door is gone through, and that door, it will not be opened, but it will be broken down. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, and then he left it at that. And then the other companions who were sitting with Hazrat Hudhayfa radiallahu anhu, they said that this door that Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala was speaking about is himself, that he is that door, that when Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu would be martyred, then that is when all of the trials would come, and so many different difficulties would take place in the Muslim ummah. When we look at how Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was martyred, there was a Sahabi by the name of Mughira bin Shu'bah radiallahu anhu, and it was his slave. He had a slave, a Majusi slave, a fire worshipper slave, whose name was Abu Lu'lu. And this Abu Lu'lu, he once came to Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, and he complained about his master. He said, my master, he takes work from me, and he was a carpenter. So he was a carpenter, and he said that whenever I do any kind of work, I have to give such and such amount to my master. And he was not happy with the amount that he had to give. So he came to Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu to complain. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu asked all of the details and things about how much and what he was doing, to which he said that I will look into it for you. And when he looked into it, he said that, what your master is charging from you is enough. There's not too much and is not too less. You should be able to give it. And this annoyed Abu Lu'lu. And he said that, are you only going to be just with everybody except me? So he was not happy about the answer which was given. But Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, still he said he had in his mind and his heart that he was going to go and speak to Hazrat Mughira bin Shu'bah radiallahu anhu. Afterwards, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he said to to Abu Lu'lu, that I want you to make a handmill for me. That I want you to make a handmill for me. And he said that, don't worry, I'm going to make a handmill for you that everybody in Medina is going to know about. So what happened was, one that Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he went to the masjid at Fajr time to lead the Fajr Salah. And just as he started his Salah, this wretched man Abu Lu'lu, he came out from the mimbar, and he stabbed Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu with a double-sided knife. And inside that knife there was poison in it as well. And he didn't only stab him once, but he stabbed him a few times. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was falling down, and just as he was about to hit the ground, he grabbed the Sahabi from behind so that he was able to complete the Salah. Narrations mentioned that it was Hazrat Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu. So he came forward and he quickly finished the Salah. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala is lying there, and they took him to his room, and they tried to, right at that moment, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu he asked, who was it that stabbed me? And they said it was Abu Lu'lu. And from this, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he got happy. He got happy. The reason for getting happy is he praised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he had been hurt by a non-Muslim. That this was so important to Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, that he had such a strong, firm belief that a Muslim should never cause any kind of pain to another Muslim. Today when we look around the dunya, we see as Muslims are killing one another everywhere. But Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he was very firm in his faith, that he was very strong that the Muslim Ummah should stick as one. After stabbing Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, Abu Lu'lu', he went and he stabbed another 13 Sahaba, 7 of which who became martyred. So all this was going on, and one of the Sahabis, they came and they put a cloth over Abu Lu'lu'. And as soon as he knew he was caught, he took the knife he had in his hand and he cut his own throat and he committed suicide. This was the end for him. So now when we look at what happened, so Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala an is now lying there in bed, and the cut that he had, it was in his stomach, and it was so bad that when he would drink, anything that he would drink, it would come out of that hole in his stomach. So the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they all knew that this was, that he was coming to an end. But Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala an, he knew that this was the end that was coming. Why? Because he made the dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, Allahumma rzuqni shahadatan fi sabilik waj'al mawti fi baladi rasulik. That he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bless me with the martyrdom, bless me with the death of martyrdom, and make it such that it is in the city of my beloved sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now when the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they heard him making this dua, he made this dua a long time before it happened. They asked that, how are you able to achieve martyrdom in Medina? That because Medina is a city where no fighting is allowed to take place, no one is allowed to fight there, but this was such that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, that he accepted this dua for him. And also when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was alive, he knew, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, that he was going to become a shaheed. Why? Because they were all once standing on Mount Uhud, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Ataytu Uhud, fama alayka illa nabiyyun aw siddiqun aw shahidan. That Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was there, and Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and there was Hazrat Umar and Uthman radiallahu anhu. And because they were there, so we have Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we have Siddiq, Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and then the two shaheed, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu and Hazrat Uthman radiallahu anhu. So during this whole time, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he was going in and out of consciousness. So just as close as he is about to passing away, he's going in and out of consciousness. The Sahaba radiallahu anhu, they are coming, they are asking that how long has he been sleeping for? And then they say that he has been unconscious for this amount of time. One Sahabi, he came in and he asked, and he said that, we want to get him up till we can speak and ask him, some questions. He said that the best way that you can get him up is tell him it is the time for Salah. As soon as Salah was mentioned, he got straight up and he says, have I prayed my Salah? And they mentioned that, no, you have not prayed your Salah. Straight away, as soon as he was asked about Salah, he got up. This is when we ask ourselves today, when we hear the adhan, where are our priorities? There is so much to learn from the stories, from the lives of the likes of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And when the time came for, when he was really close to his last stages, he asked, it was his wish that he could be buried next to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. To which he asked his son Abdullah to go and ask Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha that, can you give me permission to be buried next to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu? So the son went and he went, and so much so that he said to his son that, I want you to go to Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha and say that Umar Ibn Al-Khattab is asking. He said to his son, do not say that Amirul Mu'mineen is asking. He said, Umar Ibn Al-Khattab is asking, could he please be buried next to his two companions? And Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, she mentioned that I had that wish that I would keep that space for myself, that I wanted to be buried next to my father and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, it's okay, no problem, I will give the permission. And then Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he was waiting. His son came back and he asked for the news, to which the news was given, yes, you have been granted permission, to which he got very happy. And after that, he said to his son, after I have passed away, I want you to ask again. I don't want it to be that Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha thinks that she has been forced just because I am Amir al-Mu'mineen. So ask her again once I have passed away. So this is what Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu's son, he asked again, and this is why he was able to be buried next to Hazrat Abu Bakr and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And when we look at the way that Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu passed away, this is a dua that was made by Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu. He asked to be buried in such a place. He asked all of these things from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another thing which he asked was, he said to his son that if I have any debts, I want you to go and pay it for me. If it's not possible, go to one of the family members and ask them to pay it for me. And these are the small things that they had a care about everything in the world. That I am going to go and I am going to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the things which have to be done. The poison that was in that dagger, which was written for Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala. This was the way that it was meant to be. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had written for him. And they had so much concern and worry. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they had so much concern and worry that what kind of a death will I have? What is going to happen to me? How will I face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? These are lessons for us to learn, that so much is going on in the dunya. We sometimes forget that one day I have to go and I have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will question me about everything that has happened in this dunya. Every single thing. So this is why we have to be very careful and think that, is my Allah pleased with me? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned in the Quran about the Sahaba radiallahu anhum wa radu an. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now how did they get to this kind of a status? How did they get so high? Because they were ready to sacrifice everything in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A simple example is when one of the battles was about to commence, Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he came and he said to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that I have come and I have brought half of everything that I have. And then Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu came and he said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I have brought everything I have, every single thing I have. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he asked, what have you left behind for your family? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I have left behind Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That such were these people, that they were ready to give up everything for Islam. Today, if we ask ourselves the question, what am I ready and willing to give up? We are so engrossed in the dunya, one luxury after the other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with so much. But when we look at the ummah, we are in so much trouble. Why? Because everybody is worried about themselves. Me. I'll keep everything for myself. When we should be looking at what is best for the ummah. Just this past couple of weeks, we've been reading a hadith about keeping relations with family. That we should be in such a way where every single time, we are looking after those who are us, who are our family members. We are doing everything that we can to keep one another happy. There is one story being mentioned about Hazrat Umar Ibn Abdul-Aziz, who was one of the Khalifas later on. Said that there was so much justice at that time. There was so much justice when he was ruling, that once a woman, she got called out, and there was pain which was caused to her, and she called out to the Amir and she said that I am in trouble. And then the men who were causing her the trouble, they started laughing at her and they said, who is going to come and save you? And that's when she recited the name of the Amir al-Mu'mineen. And the Amir al-Mu'mineen, he heard this and he sent an army all the way just for that protection of one woman. Today when we look into the dunya, Muslims are getting hurt everywhere. Why? Because we have no care. So the first thing that we have to do is we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He eases the situation of all the Muslims around the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is in charge of everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us as an ummah. Allah could very easily, in the click of a finger, fix up the whole dunya. But the reason why He is not doing it, He is seeing that, does any of you actually care? Allah can very easily turn everything back around. But the Muslims are too busy doing everything else, chasing after the dunya, forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has been mentioned that there is around 95% of Muslims around 95% of Muslims do not even pray their 5 times salah daily. This is where the problem is. That the one command that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask us about first on the Day of Judgment. The first question you will be asked, did you pray your salah? This is where we are all failing. That this is the first question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask. And if we were just to start praying our salah, if we were to do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change everything around. Allah can do everything possible, but do we want that change to happen in the dunya? Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he lived in the dunya for a purpose. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chose him for a purpose to be the leader. Today we are calling out for leaders, but we ourselves have to ask ourselves, am I myself a leader? Am I a leader of my own household? Am I a good role model at home? What am I doing for my family members? Am I trying my best to get them into Jannah? These are the questions that we have to ask. And just from a side note about the month of Muharram, that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has mentioned that a person, he should try and fast on the day of Ashura, which is on Monday inshallah. And whoever fasts on the day of Ashura, his previous year's sins will be forgiven, and the following year's sins will be forgiven as well. And about that, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he came to Medina, he saw that the Jews were keeping the fast. And he said to them that, I am even more closer to you. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam is my brother. So inshallah next year we will keep 2 fasts. So either the 9th, 10th and 11th. So the ulama have said that there are 3 types that we can keep the fast. You can either keep 9, 10, 11, or you can keep 9, 10, or you can keep 10, 11. Or if a person, he is finding it really difficult, he has an illness, he should at least try and keep that 10th. So this is a way that we can remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we can do such deeds which will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everybody should try and inshallah at least make the intention that we will keep the fast of Ashura, which is on Monday. So either Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Monday and Tuesday. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to act upon whatever has been said. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate the ranks of all of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. Ameen wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. If you can perform a sunnah, please.